Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury, has two very basic, very generic plots that run through it. There's a romance plot where a rich girl who's sort of the heiress to her father's company is getting married off to men that she just does not like, and it is up to our hero to basically save her from the predicament by becoming champion. And there is an intrigue plot based around the succession of her father's company, as well as the repressed mining class that live on Earth being basically held down by the more upper class space colonies and a cabal of weapons merchants. Neither of these plots are original by any regard, and combined they may make one of the most cliche generic storylines I've ever encountered in an anime. Maybe not top one, but it's definitely in the conversation. The romance story about a girl getting married off by her father predates animation as a medium. It is hundreds, possibly thousands of years old. It would not surprise me to learn that even the female lesbian aspect of this, due to how less homophobic some ancient cultures were, if some variant of the tale wasn't told around a bonfire by cavemen. As for the intrigue plot about the companies repressing the mining class on Earth, being led by a powerful cabal of merchant guild members, this isn't even unique to Gundam. It's iron-blooded orphans, but backward. So the overall plot of this isn't particularly interesting. It does carry over from episode 0 with its absolutely excellent animation that has not stopped being a thing, so I feel like I should mention it in the proper Series 1 review itself, but I don't feel any reason to focus on it. And so what I mostly get from Witch from Mercury is its major characters and the dynamics between those characters. Specifically, Myorin, the main character Soletta, and Myorine's original fiance, Gale or something. I think I'm mispronouncing all of these characters. I do like him, but I don't have a lot to say about him. But I do like that it starts off with him just wanting to do whatever his father says. And he has this arc about wanting to live and wanting to progress. And then a thing happens to sort of contradict the wishes of his father towards the end of the season. This is a very new anime. I am trying to go as spoiler light as possible. I also appreciate Myorine's sort of almost selfish, don't really care what happens to other people sort of personality, and how that relates to her feelings of entrapment and captivity brought about by her father's controlling actions, and how those traits interact with each other, but how they also sort of contract with the main character's more selfless personality, where she just kind of wants to be a good girl and help people and be friends with everyone. But also, contrary to Myorine, who constantly disobeys her father, Soletta often exclusively listens to her mother. And I like how their two philosophies throughout the course of the show are generally shown to be specifically beneficial, but then they sort of reverse towards the very end in a scene that, admittedly, the very post-credit scene of episode 12 I actually saw, and it was what made me want to watch this in the first place, but I decided to actually wait until season 2 had wrapped. So I like how they sort of reverse and pervert their viewpoints. Like, Soletta's major philosophy that she inherits from her mother is run and gain 1, move forward and gain 2, which is a sort of philosophy based on the idea of facing your problems head on. You gain more from that, even if you fail, than if you were to try and avoid your problems altogether, which is an interesting contrast to how she originally meets Myorine, who is literally running away from her problems instead of facing them head on. And you actually start to see her situation improve as she begins to face her problems head on, listening to the advice of Soletta's mother. But this is all sort of takes on an interesting and more darker implications towards the exact end of the season, where Myorine is trying to selflessly, just like Soletta normally would have, help her dad, where she normally would have just cut and ran. And Soletta is still pushing forward under the instructions of her mother, but it takes on a sort of darker, more violent aspect towards the end. I actually had an entire thing I was going to talk about, and then when I decided this is probably too new to spoil, I ended up sort of just meandering because I was sort of dancing around plot points. So I'm going to have to apologize that wasn't fully coherent, but This did very much feel like a season of buildup. I want to say I'm really behind the characters and their dynamics, and that is definitely what is keeping me engaged. And this definitely feels like this is all about setting up the plot points and the character dynamics for season 2. It feels like a lot of pressure building up behind the bottle, and I am very excited to see what happens when that cork finally blows off in season 2. Twitch and Discord in the description. I've been Sacrobolic, your envoy of hope. Bye-bye.